Welcome to the Crusades, one of the most complex and tumultuous periods in human history. For nearly 2 centuries, Christians and Muslims clashed in a series of brutal conflicts that would leave a lasting impact on the world. But what sparked these wars of Holy Crusade? Let's dive in and explore the history of the Crusades. In 1095, Pope Urban II issued a call to arms, urging Christian princes to reclaim the Holy Land for Muslim rule. He promised that God would forgive their sins if they fought for Christendom. This call to crusade was met with enthusiasm from knights and nobles across Europe, who saw it as a chance to gain salvation. First, let's ponder upon the reasoning for such a great call for arms, to destroy a long-lasting, tyrannical reign of power. Looking back in history, the call to arms wasn't unwarranted. The Crusades were, in part, a response to the difficulties faced by Christian pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. Muslims had taken control of Jerusalem and other holy sites, making it difficult for Christians to visit and pray at these sacred locations. The Crusades were also motivated by a desire to protect Christian interests in the region, including trade routes, cities, and territories. The Byzantine Empire, which had once been the dominant power in the region, was struggling to maintain its control over its territories. The Crusades were also seen as a way to defend Christendom from the threat posed by Islam. Muslims had been expanding their territories and threatening Christian territories, and many Christians saw the Crusades as a way to push back against this expansion. The Pope saw the Crusades as an opportunity to assert his authority over the Eastern Orthodox Church and to promote his own power within Europe. By leading a crusade, he could demonstrate his authority over all Christians and unite them under a single banner. The Crusades were also motivated by a desire for revenge against Muslim conquests of Christian territories in Spain, North Africa, and Asia Minor. These factors combined to create a complex web of motivations that drove the Crusades. While some historians argue that religious fervor was a primary motivator, others suggest that economic, political, and strategic factors played a more significant role. A lot of the reasoning for the Crusades are similar to events going on today over 1,000 years later. It goes to show no matter the perceived sense of progress, everything always bottles down to the same things no matter the creed or religion: greed, power, and influence. Before the Crusades, Islam had already conquered and influenced many Christian territories, leading to a complex and multifaceted relationship between the two religions. The Arab conquests of 632 to 750 CE were a series of military campaigns led by the Rashidun Caliphate, which resulted in the rapid spread of Islam across the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Europe. The early conquests include the Battle of Al-Qadisiyah 633 CE, the first major battle between the Arabs and the Sassanid Empire, resulting in a decisive Arab victory. The conquest of Syria 634 to 636 CE. The Arabs conquered the cities of Damascus, Homs, and Jerusalem, and defeated the Byzantine Empire at the Battle of Yarmouk. The conquest of Egypt 639 to 641 CE. The Arabs conquered Egypt, which became a crucial hub for their military campaigns. Conquest of Iraq 633 to 634 CE. The Arabs conquered the Sassanid capital, Ctesiphon, and established Baghdad as their capital. The conquests continue. The conquest of North Africa 642 to 670 CE. The Arabs conquered North Africa, defeating the Byzantine Empire at the Battle of Sufetula. 640 to 650. The conquest of Anatolia, modern-day Turkey. The Arabs conquered parts of Anatolia, including the city of Amorium. The conquest of Sind 711 to 712 CE. The Arabs conquered Sind, a region in modern-day Pakistan, from the Hindu kingdom of Rai Dahir. Finally, the Umayyad Caliphate from 661 to 750 CE. The Battle of Karbala 680 CE, a crucial battle in which the Umayyad Caliph Yazid I defeated the Prophet Muhammad's grandson Husayn ibn Ali. The conquest of Armenia 661 to 750 CE. The Arabs conquered Armenia and parts of Georgia. Lastly, the conquest of Spain 711 to 718 CE. In 711 CE, the Moors, Muslims from North Africa, invaded Spain and established a caliphate that lasted for over 7 centuries. During this period, many Christian cities and territories were conquered, including Toledo, Córdoba, and Granada. The Arabs conquered Visigothic Spain, establishing the Caliphate of Córdoba, lasting until 1492 CE. The Arab conquests had a profound impact on world history, spreading Islam across vast regions, establishing trade routes, and laying the foundation for future Islamic empires. The Crusader-Turkish Wars were a series of conflicts that took place between the Crusader states in the Levant and the Seljuk and Ottoman Turkish empires from the 11th to the 14th centuries. These events contributed to a sense of fear, outrage, and perceived injustice among Christians in Europe, which ultimately led to the launching of the First Crusade in 1095 CE. However, it is essential to note that these events are often portrayed as black and white in historical accounts, but were likely more complex and nuanced in reality. It is also important to recognize that Islam was not monolithic, and there were many different interpretations and practices within Islamic societies. Similarly, Christianity was not uniform, with different denominations and factions within Christendom. The First Crusade 1095 to 1099. The First Crusade was a chaotic and bloody affair. The armies of Europe marched across the Mediterranean, facing off against Turkish, Egyptian, and Fatimid forces. They captured Antioch, Jerusalem, and other key cities, but at great cost. Thousands died on both sides, and the Crusaders faced brutal treatment at the hands of Muslim forces. After the First Crusade, European monarchs established several Crusader states in the Middle East. These kingdoms were fragile and vulnerable, with constant rivalries between different Christian factions and external threats from Muslim forces. The most famous of these states was the Kingdom of Jerusalem, which lasted until its fall in 1187. The Third Crusade saw the arrival of two legendary leaders, Richard the Lionheart of England and Saladin of Egypt. Richard's military campaigns were marked by failures and successes, but ultimately he was forced to sign a treaty with Saladin that allowed Christian pilgrims access to Jerusalem. Saladin's reputation as a chivalrous warrior earned him praise from both Christians and Muslims. As the centuries passed, the Crusades lost momentum and popularity. The rise of the Mongols in Asia Minor threatened both Christians and Muslims, while internal conflicts within Christendom weakened the ability to launch effective crusades. The last major crusade was led by King Louis IX of France in 1248, but it ended in defeat. The Crusades left a lasting impact on world history, shaping political boundaries, cultural attitudes, and religious divisions. Today, we can learn from this complex period by exploring its causes, consequences, and legacies. Even today, it is clear that these same issues arise, and the only real thing that has progressed is the weapons we use. Until we as a race begin to see others as our kin, brothers and sisters, destruction will always prevail. We must tap into our empathetic and loving nature if we are to succeed as people and as a species. It is up to us to save ourselves. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the history of the Crusades. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to see more of our content.